Check 1, check 2, check 3. Welcome to Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV. Big Fox, I'm your host, Frank Ackerman. We are broadcasting live, as always, from the Hesselson studio here on Market Street in Corning. Look at these waves pouring in. Also, thank you to everyone for the kind words. Looking forward to going to 2 hours on Monday. And today's going to be a show where I wish we had the 2 hours today. And if you're not aware, we're going to start at 6 a.m. on Monday, so mark your calendar. On a sad note, I wanted to say this just quickly. Our thoughts and prayers go out to Joe Lieberman's family. The former senator has passed away at the age of 82. You'll recall, I would think, the 2000 election. Of course, he was Al Gore's running mate. I saw a quote, I believe it was Mark Levin, who said he was the last true moderate, Joe Lieberman. A statement from Lieberman's family said he passed away on Wednesday in New York after suffering complications from a fall. Quote, Senator Lieberman's love of God, his family, and America endured throughout his life of service in the public interest. A statement from his family read, now a funeral service for Lieberman will be held Friday in his hometown of Stamford, with a public memorial service to be set for a later date. Lieberman is survived by his wife, Hadassah, his 3 children, and a stepson, from his wife's previous marriage. So our thoughts and prayers go out to the Lieberman family. Now, we've got a lot to get to this morning. We're going to talk about some New York issues. We have some local issues as well. I think you're going to be really interested in what Assemblyman Palmisano said yesterday. And it ties in, I'd like to think, anyway, that frankly speaking, had a little bit of say in this, and I'll tell you that in just a little bit. But first, before we take our first break, how many times on this program have we mentioned the importance of voting in local elections? And one of the goals that we've had here on the program is to get guests on the program that are running for elected office locally. And I think we've done a pretty good job with that throughout the first year here on the program, because it's becoming increasingly difficult to find out about who the candidates are. We've had that conversation before. So I've been bringing you the story of that, what do they call her, super mayor out of Illinois. Well, this one's a little different, but it goes to show how much local races really affect your life, how maybe something you don't even think about can really, really affect your day-to-day, more so than a presidential race, a congressional race. Well, this is out of Oakland. A man named Victor Silva. He is 102 years old. He's wheelchair bound. And he was ordered to paint over his vandalized fence. And of course, he had to get some help from his 70-year-old son, or he would face a hefty fine. And I'll get to that fine in just a moment. But Victor Silva painted over the black and red graffiti on the back fence of his home, the home that he has lived in for the past 80 years, after the city of Oakland implemented a March 19th deadline. You only had until March 19th. If he failed to comply with this order, he could face a fine of $1,100, including an additional $1,277 each time he failed a reinspection. So he said in the past he painted over the graffiti, which happens frequently, with no issue. But now he struggles a little bit at 102. Now his daughter-in-law said it was so absurd. It's like a joke. If you drive around the city and see the graffiti everywhere, it's just, I don't know what to say. Now the burden falls on his son, Victor Silva Jr., who's 70, who claims the graffiti keeps popping up no matter what they do to prevent it. Quote, it's hard to keep up with it because as soon as it gets painted, it's going to be graffiti on it again and it won't last. Then they pointed out, I guess you could almost say the hypocrisy, of the utility box only yards away from the fence that is covered in graffiti. I guess the city would not get fined in that scenario. Now, his son mentioned the fact that he runs a small commercial building that's been broken into 3 times because of the rise in crime there in Oakland. Each time, Sylvia Jr. told the outlet he's called 911, but the issue is not subsiding. Quote, I'm put on hold every time, so it's hard to understand where our tax dollars are going. They can't answer 911, but they can come out and hassle you about a fence. Hassle a 102-year-old man in a wheelchair. Now, according to KTVU, the city inspector is aware of the issue and will immediately inspect the fence, meaning the graffiti is so bad that he better inspect it quick because the graffiti will probably be back and they don't want to implement the fine. The city inspector also said he would consider canceling the citation. Well, that's nice of you to consider, and I would say that that consideration is based largely on the fact that they were receiving bad public relations. But again, it shows the importance of local elections and what your local governments can get into, for lack of a better word. Now, I know that was off the beaten path, but I thought that was a good way to start the program. So stay with us. We'll be right back with Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV, Big Fox.
Isn't your wellness important? Don't you want more energy? Now's the best time to make every day better and relieve those achy muscles and pains than with the Hesselson's Hot Tub. Hesselson's has hot tubs in stock and available for immediate delivery with unbelievable savings. Hesselson's offers 0% interest-free financing for up to 5 full years. Hesselson's carries the only hot tub brand in the industry with the exclusive freshwater salt system that is eco-friendly and easy to use and only enhances your hot tubbing experience. Come in today and see why your next hot tub should be a Hesselson's Hot Tub. And remember, it's always fun to poke in the corners at Hesselson's.
Attention, this is an important message for firefighters, members of the military, and airport workers. For decades, first responders and firefighters at military bases and airports used a chemical-based foam to fight fires. Studies have shown that chemicals used to make aqueous film-forming foam, or AFFF, are highly toxic to humans and have been associated with several types of cancer. If you or someone you know was diagnosed with any of those cancers, call now for a free case review.
On Fox.
You're ready to rumble in Richmond.
This 3/4-mile D-shaped short track has history.
We've been racing at this track since 1953.
The best drivers in the world push the limits in an all-out battle for the checkered flag. The Toyota Owners 400, Easter Sunday.
We are back with Frankly Speaking here on Big Fox. I know I've been telling you a lot about the Painted Post Food Pantry. The Assemblyman and myself got a very nice tour of the food pantry located at United Church of Painted Post on North Hamilton Street. Well, once a month, they have a nutrition workshop, and the workshop was yesterday. But I want you to mark your calendar because it's the fourth Wednesday of every month at 10:30, and it runs till about 11:30. It's about 35, 40-minute lesson. You get a recipe demonstration, samples, a free kitchen tool. Well, we got an update. I know I promoted it yesterday, but we got an update, and I wanted to show you. There's the event. I am informed that 18 people attended the workshop, and it was about fruits and vegetables. And, yeah, look at that crowd getting the lesson, and look at this. This is what it was all for. Looks delicious, doesn't it? Broccoli, raisin, pasta salad recipe. So, if you're not hungry already this morning, highly recommend you put that in your calendar and go to the nutrition workshop at the Painted Post Food Pantry the fourth Wednesday of every month starting at 10:30, and I'll try to do my best to remind you as the next one nears. Okay, quickly, before our next break, the NYPD Sergeants Union is warning, and this is an update from a story I've been bringing to you all week, warns anti-police New York politicians to stay away from slain cop Jonathan Diller's funeral. This coming from the New York Post, specifically calling out City Council Speaker Adrian Adams and public advocate Jumaane Williams, saying that them and their cohorts should stay home. They detest cops and have no appreciation for what they do. They should stay home and not pretend that they are grieving. They have caused enough heartbreak and destruction, said the SBA president, Vincent Vellong. But you know who is? Well, who knows if they'll try to make a spectacle of it, which would be just a shame, insult, injury over such a tragic story. But you know who is expected to attend? The Trump campaign said the former president is, quote, moved by the invitation to join the family and colleagues of slain NYPD officer Jonathan Diller at the wake. He's expected to attend the wake for Jonathan Diller on Thursday afternoon today. That's according to an NYPD spokesperson. Diller's wake is scheduled today from 2 to 4 p.m. in Long Island. Reach for comment. Trump campaign National Press Secretary Carolyn Levitt said Trump is moved by the invitation to join Dylan's family and colleagues as they deal with his senseless and tragic death. So there's an update on some New York issues and that tragic story that we brought to you earlier in the week, showing yet again this week on crime stance that we have in New York and what it is leading to. Now, if you did not hear, speaking of New York, the big news, Hochul is going to send a state budget extender. Yes, they now have through April 4th. Now they're saying it's because of Easter. We'll give you her quote here when we come back from break, and then I'm going to talk about what the Assemblyman has offered and a couple other New York State issues before we get into the presidential election. Some really interesting RFK Jr. updates, Trump updates. So stay right there. We're just getting started here on Frankly Speaking.
Attention, if you were a loved one regularly used hair relaxers or straighteners and were diagnosed with uterine, ovarian, or endometrial cancer, you may be entitled to significant compensation.
I've used hair relaxers for years. I had no idea they could cause cancer.
Chemical hair relaxers and straighteners have been linked to serious conditions, including several types of cancer. If you used hair relaxers and now have uterine, ovarian, or endometrial cancer, call now to see if you qualify. There's no fee unless we win your case.
You just have to get in the seat of a John Deere 3 Series tractor. Not because of the powerful implements, or because of our unmatched dealer support. Not even because it's in it for the long haul. You just have to get in the seat because being this efficient just feels good.
Right now at Lindsay Equipment, save up to $1,500 on remaining in-stock 2023 3 Series compact tractors.
This right here is confident in a bottle.
It makes me feel so much more confident than I've ever felt.
They are some of the hottest videos on social media. Those videos claiming to instantly get rid of bags under your eyes. Annette Figueroa is here to tell us why she says this one is for real.
This one is for real, and I'm so excited. We even have a video, and all he uses is a small amount on a clean, dry face. And what it does is it tightens and lifts the appearance of bags underneath your eyes. And I did this to my father. We were at home. So we applied it to his under eye bags, and let me tell you, we were so excited. In under 10 minutes, they visibly disappeared from view, and now it is literally part of both of our daily routines. And not only does it work on the bags, it works on the appearance of crow's feet, fine lines, and wrinkles.
At our $14.95 price, it's the best way to try Plexiderm and see it work after your first application. Your solution is at plexidermtrial.com or call the number on your screen.
Sunday on Fox. The Kings of the Lanes lay everything on the line for a major.
Touch it! He's got it! There it is! Belmo adds to his legacy. Anthony Sorensen, he's got it!
This is where names become legends and legends become champions.
He's the greatest!
The PBA USBC Masters.
And we are back. Look at that beautiful view of Market Street as we broadcast live from the Hesselson studio. So here is what the governor had to say about the extension of the budget deadline from Empire Report. For weeks, I've been negotiating with the legislature to craft a budget that makes record investments for New Yorkers while putting the state on a fiscally stable path into the future. While I believe a final agreement is within reach, I recognize many New Yorkers would like to spend the holiday weekend with family and loved ones. For that reason, I'll be delivering a bill to the legislature to temporarily extend the budget deadline until April 4th. Working together, I'm confident we can deliver a budget that increases the housing supply, invests in schools and health care, and makes New York safer for all. Did you hear that at the end? Safer for all. She's recognized, and I believe she has for a while, that public safety is a major issue in New York, and that voters are concerned about their safety, not just in the city, but here. Then you have the tragedy of that slain officer this week, and I think you'll start to see more, for lack of a better term, rhetoric from the governor about public safety. It does not mean it's just like when they made minuscule change to bail reform, and she touted it as just a huge success for public safety. It's going to be a lot of smoke and mirrors, but I think they do recognize the problem. I don't think anything's going to get done. Let me make sure I make that clear. But I think you'll see a lot of rhetoric. Hey, let's take a look at, I think, something that came from Frankly Speaking. If you remember, Assemblyman Phil Palmisano was on last Friday, and a viewer asked the question, have you heard anything about new rules on squatters? Because there's been so many stories in the news about these squatters that are taking over houses. I had for you the story of the illegal migrant who is very famous on TikTok, showing new migrants how to, I don't know if this was his term or not, but steal houses. And we saw the sad story of people being arrested in their own homes trying to get these squatters out. Well, we had that question from a viewer to the Assemblyman, and he said, I don't remember his answer, so I don't want to paraphrase, but I received this yesterday. Assemblyman Phil Palmisano joined Assembly Minority Leader Will Barclay, Assemblyman Jake Blumenkranes, and his Assembly Republican colleagues to call for legislative action to protect homeowners from squatters by clarifying the term tenant to exclude squatters and adding squatting to the definition of criminal trespass in a bill introduced by Blumenkrans. This comes on the heels of two cases, one in which a woman was arrested after she changed the locks on her own property that was being occupied by squatters. In the second case, Nadia Vitals was beaten and murdered by two squatters who were occupying her recently deceased mother's apartment. The Assemblyman said, when you own a piece of property, it should belong to you, period. You shouldn't have to worry that random people can camp in your home and then gain legal protection to stay there. We have already tragically seen the outcomes of such policies, people being arrested for changing the locks on their property, and even worse, in New York City when a woman visiting from Spain was murdered by 2 squatters in her mother's apartment. And he continued, enough is enough. We cannot allow this lawlessness to continue. That is why I'm proud to support this common sense legislation to handle squatters properly, charge them with criminal trespass, and making sure homeowners are never held criminally liable trying to evict them. This important bill is simply about property owners' rights, public safety, and making sure New Yorkers feel safe in their own properties. So thank you to the Assemblyman. Next time he's on the program, we'll have to ask if that stemmed from our conversation here on Frankly Speaking. I'm sure they were working behind the scenes on this for quite some time, but I'm glad to hear that from Phil. Okay, a couple last quick New York issues. Licensed New York City cannabis operators are urging Albany to smoke out the illegal weed peddlers. Now, this is a common story that we have, just highlighting the absurdity, just the disastrous rollout of legalized cannabis. So now they are urging Albany to do something about the illegal weed peddlers. Yeah, boy. Well, what they're asking for is local authorities to have the power to inspect and shut down the illegal shops, imposed and enforce higher penalties to deter the black market, improve coordination between state and local agencies to bolster enforcement, and support for legal stores with public information campaigns that warn of the health risks from buying pot from illegal operators and cutting red tape and issuing licenses. What a rollout, huh? And on the 4-year anniversary-ish of the COVID pandemic, reviews and questions and delays here in New York. 4 years ago, New York was under lockdown as COVID-19 infections swept the state. And then we, of course, have talked on this program extensively about Governor Cuomo's disastrous, tragic, cruel initiative to put COVID-positive patients in nursing homes that led to countless deaths. I guess this group is delayed. The review questions, they're looking into it, supposedly. Most are saying it's kind of a typical investigation in New York, if you will. The Olson Group's contract will end June 20th to complete a 32,000-hour after-action pandemic review. The firm has billed the state $1.1 million of its $4.3 million agreement to review the state's coronavirus response and issue a final report. The Comptroller's office approved the 6-month renewal last week. State budget officials said the low spending near the end of the contract would indicate issues with the report's work, or at least give reason to raise suspicion. DiNapoli says, I think there's a lot of hope and expectation that will provide some of the answers that are still out there. But until we see the report, it's hard to know what that judgment's going to be. A lot of criticism in this piece for the delay and for, boy, again, not to keep using this term, but a lot of smoke and mirrors, it looks like. Democrat Assemblyman Ron Kim plans to reintroduce legislation this week to study the state's COVID response in nursing homes, and said the state and congressional reviews are both critical for an accurate picture of the state's public health protocols. All right, that was a quick update from yesterday. Now, I think that takes care of all of our New York State issues. When we come back, a few things here about RFK, Biden, Trump, a couple other things, hopefully, too, if we have the time and the opportunity. So stay with us. Keep those waves coming in. We're doing good. If you have any questions or comments, you can reach me on the number, on the bottom of your screen. And yes, to the one viewer, I am a little stuffed up. Allergies are getting me. So I apologize for that, but we're doing our best. We're powering through. And I will be tip-top come Monday when we move to 2 hours starting at 6 a.m. So anyway, stay with us. We'll be right back with Frankly Speaking here on Big Fox.
Aaron's Heating and Air Conditioning in Corning, New York is a local veteran-owned and operated company with over 25 years experience. Trust the experts at Aaron's Heating and Air Conditioning for all of your HVAC needs.
It's hard to stop a train.
Wow, you found it.
I did.
The History of Water Part 6? I've been dying to read this.
I know, honey.
I always wanted that book.
At Culligan, we get that most people don't think about water like we do, and that's okay.
You see, when we install one of our high-efficiency water softeners, we're thinking about hard water and limescale buildup, so you can just think about longer-lasting appliances and softer skin and hair. At Culligan, we think about your water, so you don't have to.
Call today to schedule your free water test.
What do when your tire goes flat and there's no air anywhere? You reach for Bullseye Pro, the smarter, faster, hands-free way to fill it up with air. Bullseye Pro is equipped with a rechargeable lithium-ion power plant. So fast and so convenient. It's like the power of an air compressor in the palm of your hand. Look, you can inflate all 4 tires on a single charge. It has a built-in smart pressure digital sensor that gauges and automatically stops when the set tire pressure is reached. Easily inflate pool toys, exercise balls, and more. Call or go online now and get the complete Bullseye Pro inflation system for the factory direct price of just $79.99. Plus, we'll ship your entire order free, and we'll give you a 50% discount on a second one. Order now.
To order, call 1-800-977-4997. That's 1-800-977-4997, or go to getbullseyepro.com.
Again, thank you for joining us here on Frankly Speaking, as we broadcast live from the Hesselson studio here on Market Street in Corning. Paul de Canoy is this gentleman's name, who writes for the New York Post. He is the president of the Palm Beach Freedom Institute, and his theory, I think it may be a little much, but RFK Jr.'s progressive VP pick will doom Biden's reelection. As of Monday, per Real Clear Politics, I tried to combine that into one word, polling averages, Trump held a popular vote lead of 1.7% in a hypothetical one-on-one rematch. Trump's advantage, however, rose to 2.3% in the current 5-way race, which also includes not just RFK Jr., but Jill Stein and Cornel West. Kennedy is by far the greatest potential spoiler, drawing an average of 9.9% of the overall vote. And we brought you that story where Democrat operatives, for lack of a better word, got together after he made the announcement and talked about how he's a spoiler, kind of the talking points I want to use. Tinfoil hat conspiracy theorist, anti-vaxxer, those type of things. And that's not new. They've been doing this for a while. And this piece at the New York Post actually goes through how many times the White House has tried to discredit him, tried to really embarrass him when they had the big Kennedy get-together at the White House and didn't invite him, etc. Now, I'm not going to read all the poll numbers because I know that gets a little bit overwhelming. But as Trump clinched the GOP nomination, Kennedy's support was already starting to track more from Democrats concerned about Biden's age and the chaos at the southern border. Now, for a long time, they told us, no, he's going to steal Trump votes. But you could tell that the people telling us that didn't have our best interest at heart. And now you're starting to see the anger at Kennedy, the hatred of Kennedy. So you know, and that's by the media and Democrats, that you know what that means. You don't even have to read between the lines. They realize that he would, if he is going to be a spoiler for Biden. On Tuesday, Kennedy made himself more lethal to Biden by naming as his running mate the well-divorced California attorney and tech investor Nicole Shanahan. Shanahan, who calls herself a progressive through and through, is the radical left millennial ex-wife of Google founder Sergey Brin. Although Shanahan is a little-known political entity, she is a rich one, reportedly having demanded a cool $1 billion in her divorce from Brin. Wow. Her spending could also gain Kennedy sufficient numbers to qualify for the presidential debates, which would make him the first third-party candidate to do so since Ross Perot in '92. Now, again, I know I don't have to keep giving my thoughts on this, but I don't believe, and you can call me wrong if it happens, I don't believe there'll be a presidential debate. I think we already saw with the ouster of Ronna McDaniel, the tactics that they'll use, that we cannot give Trump a platform, therefore, and that'll be Biden saying that, Biden's campaign, also the media saying we can't give that platform, because it just would not be right to you, the viewer, to have to witness that. As they were saying with Ronna McDaniel, it'll just be a carbon copy, a little more aggressive probably, with Trump. So maybe, I guess, the presidential debate between Biden and Kennedy, though I don't believe the Biden campaign wants him to debate whatsoever. But I'll continue here. Democrat strategists ramped up criticism of RFK Jr. even before he named Shanahan to the ticket. Biden's re-election campaign reportedly has an entire team devoted to denigrating him. Think of that. Well, and this is typical. They did it, as we quoted yesterday. This is what they did to Bernie Sanders. Still amazed that Bernie Sanders supporters were able to stay in the Democrat Party after what they did to him, if I'm being honest. I've equated it to if Trump was going to win back in 2016 and at the last minute the powers that be said, no, it's going to be Jeb Bush. I think there would have been a lot of people leaving the Republican Party. Not so with the Democrat Party, with what they did to Bernie, but that was a tangent. That's what you call a tangent. And now that RFK Jr. has a running mate with enormous personal resources, the Democrats are doubling their efforts to smear him. Even with the buzz around his running mate, RFK Jr. doesn't have a chance of getting elected. But with Shanahan and her money on this ticket, neither does Joe Biden. That's the crux of the argument by Mr. Duquesnoy. Paul Duquesnoy. Now, enough about RFK Jr. We do bring up RFK Jr. a lot, though, don't we? What's your thoughts? I know we've had some pretty interesting comments about him and his campaign, so I'd love to hear your take on that this morning. Again, I brought this story to you as we jump over to the Biden campaign, and I don't understand this drive, but I wanted to mention it to you because it's still an ongoing push. Democrats, New York Democrats, who are maybe not pro-Israel or want a ceasefire, they are saying that if you're going to go vote in the primary, leave the ballot blank. I don't understand that because then it's not cast. I mean, I could see you writing in somebody, kind of just even a made-up name, something like that. So then it's counted, and then they get to see the actual numbers. But I'll continue with what is being said this morning, coming out of, I believe this was USA Today. President Joe Biden's glide to victory in New York's primary next Tuesday. Yes, it is next Tuesday. Early voting has begun. Could be scuffed by a wave of blank ballots cast by Democrats who want to signal disapproval of Biden's support for Israel, even after that UN resolution. I don't get it. I mean, he's weakened on it because he's scared of movements like this. He's scared of the backlash he's getting in something as a no-brainer as supporting Israel. But again, the Democrat Party has changed a lot. A coalition of groups incensed by the toll in Gaza launched its Leave It Blank campaign before early voting began last weekend, enlisting supporters through its website, phone banks, emails, and by passing out flyers at events. As of Wednesday afternoon, more than 1,200 people had pledged online to cast blank ballots, approaching the group's goal of 1,600. Now, what's interesting is I don't know how much of a campaign this is going to be, because when you think about it, it's going to be low voter turnout. I mean, I'm looking forward to going to vote in the primary, but it's all formality at this point. And I don't want to go through what their message is and all that, but I understand the uncommitted campaign, because if you voted uncommitted, that does send a message. This I just don't understand. Now, it says the State Board of Election plans to disclose candidate tallies only on election night, not the number of blank ballots. So that's why I think this is all for nothing. That blank count will be included in the official results after counties review them and the board certifies them, which has no fixed date, but will take place at least 2 weeks after the election. So at least 2 weeks after, the momentum will be gone for this group. I don't think it'll get the coverage it would have. The Leave It Blank campaign threatened this week to sue the Board of Elections to force it to post all tallies on Tuesday night, including the blank ballots or at least the total votes cast. Attorney Ahmad Ansari argued the public is entitled to a full accounting of the election results when the polls close. Kathleen McGrath, the Board of Elections spokeswoman, told USA Today the board includes only candidate votes in its unofficial tallies for presidential primaries because their percentages are what determines how delegates are allocated. The real thrust, it says here, of the primaries. Blank votes are not relevant for that calculation, and state law doesn't require they be included in unofficial results on election night. Quote, let the board's position be clear. All votes are relevant, and we encourage all eligible voters to vote in the upcoming presidential primary and cast a ballot however they choose. Kind of a weird campaign there. Now, sadly, as we talk about the kind of anti-Israel stance we've seen coming from the Democrat Party, and now the weakening by Joe Biden. I don't accept polls at face value. I know we read them here frequently on the program, but I think they can be manipulated in many ways. And I think the media is very scared. If Biden were to remain strong on Israel, because there seems to just be this larger and larger strain of kind of anti-Israel sentiment. But now they're claiming, and this is from Gallup, most Americans disapprove of Israel's war in Gaza. More than half of Americans, 55%, said they disapprove of Israel's military action in Gaza, while 36% approve of it, according to this poll, which surveyed 1,016 U.S. adults this month. 9% said they had no opinion on the matter. The poll has a margin of error of plus or minus 4 percentage points. So I would ask you, what do you think? Have you weakened in your support for Israel's action, Israel's war in Gaza? I would also say if I was Israel, if I was Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, I would not be concerned with what Gallup said, or really in this instance, as they were attacked so brutally on October 7th, I would say I wouldn't care about Americans' opinions on this. When you have to defend yourself, you have to defend yourself. Just like I don't think, let's say after September 11th, for instance, that we would have cared about what polls said from other countries when we knew something had to be done. So I would love to hear your take on it. But first, we have to take a break. I see a lot of comments coming in. I appreciate that. We'll try to get to as many as we can. Stay with us. This is, Frankly Speaking, here on WYDC TV, Big Fox.
Isn't your wellness important? Don't you want more energy? Now's the best time to make every day better and relieve those achy muscles and pains than with the Hesselson's Hot Tub. Hesselson's has hot tubs in stock and available for immediate delivery with unbelievable savings. Hesselson's offers 0% interest-free financing for up to 5 full years. Hesselson's carries the only hot tub brand in the industry with the exclusive freshwater salt system that is eco-friendly and easy to use and only enhances your hot tubbing experience. Come in today and see why your next hot tub should be a Hesselson's Hot Tub. And remember, it's always fun to poke in the corners at Hesselson's.
Attention, if you or a loved one regularly used hair relaxers or straighteners and were diagnosed with uterine, ovarian, or endometrial cancer, you may be entitled to significant compensation.
I've used hair relaxers for years. I had no idea they could cause cancer.
Chemical hair relaxers and straighteners have been linked to serious conditions, including several types of cancer. If you used hair relaxers and now have uterine, ovarian, or endometrial cancer, call now to see if you qualify. There's no fee unless we win your case.
Are you over 50? Would you like to get up to 33% more income in retirement? Then call now and get this free book, Annuity Do's and Don'ts for Baby Boomers, from a leading financial firm on maximizing your income in retirement. This book reveals little-known secrets about annuity strategies in simple-to-understand terms that can help you make the right choices before buying an annuity. And if you call right now, as a bonus, we'll throw in a free annuity rate report. We've researched over 1,200 annuities summarizing the rates and benefits for you. So don't miss out on this opportunity because supplies are limited. Call now and find out how you can get up to 33% more income in your retirement, and you'll receive Annuity Do's and Don'ts for Baby Boomers and the Annuity Rate Report as an added bonus. Both books are yours free, just for calling Annuity General today.
Call 800-354-5972. That's 800-354-5972. Again, 800-354-5972.
It's a new season of Sherry.
Having a good time has always been my #1 goal. I tend to get crazy.
At my age, I should not be jumping up and down like that. And if you don't know what I mean, ask your mama. The young ones, y'all like, we don't know what you're talking about. But I promise you, in 30 years, you will.
It's the best time in daytime.
Weekdays at 2 p.m. on Big Fox.
Broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio on this beautiful day on Market Street. You can tell the weather's a little bit nicer out there because we got a lot of in-person waves, not just virtual waves this morning. All right, we've got a lot of comments from viewers, and they're on just about every issue we've discussed. Israel shouldn't stop until they have removed the threat. Thank you very much. I would agree. I'm confused by leaving the ballot blank unless they plan on filling it in. Same with me. I don't understand it. I guess they're going to say, well, look at the final count of ballots and look how many were left blank. But there's, at least unless something's changed, writing in a candidate is very easy. You just go to the bottom of the ballot and you write in the candidate. So I'm not sure why they wouldn't have said write in uncommitted or write in, I don't know, somebody's name. I don't think it was the best or most well thought out campaign, and maybe they just got too far along with it and realized, we already handed out our flyers. I have no idea. If someone out there is a part of that campaign, I would love to hear the thoughts behind it. Okay, I think everyone gives Hochul too much credit for making decisions for New York. This is a very good point from Ken. She's exactly as she stated, a Biden Democrat, which means she does what her handlers tell her to do. To be accurate, it should be said that she is told what to do instead of making it sound like she makes these decisions herself. That's a good point, because if you recall, don't quote me on the location, but we brought it up on the show. Remember when she had to let go a consultant that she had? Was it Wyoming? I mean, it might have been he was from Wyoming, so I had no vested interest in New York and its residents. And he was telling her, you've got to talk about this, you've got to do this. And it really came back to bite her in the election campaign against Zeldin. Not that she lost, I understand, but her numbers were not as good as a Democrat would typically get. Zeldin became very close in that race, and it's because he focused on what New Yorkers were concerned about. Public policy. Public safety, where she was focused on abortion. And that really hit home to a lot of people about the public safety. And I think Lee Zeldin, to his credit, helped spark the movement where more people, many of us have been talking about it for years, but more people saying, yeah, this is getting bad. I do notice this in my neighborhood. I do notice family members have been affected by this. And that's why he is on the list, supposedly, to that article we had earlier in the week, for potential VP choice for Trump. Next comment from a viewer. I believe that the draw for most for Trump is that in his last term, we got shortchanged. I just hope if he is reelected that the Democrats let him do his job this time. Let's see what he could really do for this country. He did get shortchanged in the sense of the pandemic hitting. Absolutely. That is a very good point. I will say I don't believe if he wins re-election that it will be any easier for him to do his job. I think you may actually see worse coverage, worse attacks. And I say that because they'll see him as a lame duck president that doesn't really have a lot to lose with some of the decisions he makes, and that will scare them. So I can't imagine a group that's running around saying that he's the biggest threat to democracy and attacks on everything you can think of, the lawsuits, just the nonstop legalization of the judicial system, or the weaponization of the justice system. Excuse me. I don't think that it's going to be any lighter. If you can use that kind of rhetoric, I just got a feeling it's not going to say, "Oh, we lost. Let's move along." I think it's going to be just like that one. Well, who do you work for? Probably, I think, ironically, he worked for NBC at one time. Ironically, after we saw with Ronna McDaniel, but a former executive, I believe, at NBC, saying that, hey, look, Barron Trump, Trump's youngest son, now 18, he's fair game. So now they're proving again that certain families, it depends on what letter you have next to your name, an R or D, certain families are not off limits. Certain families are very much in fair play. Speaking of former presidents, did you see that today is the big fundraiser that the media is just, they're gaga over, where Joe Biden is meeting with Barack Obama and Bill Clinton at a fundraiser they say could potentially bring in $25 million for Biden's campaign. And I'm saying this not in any, just saying this to say it, with no kind of bias or anything involved in it. And I'd love to hear your opinion on it. I thought that Bill Clinton was a non-political entity now. Not meaning maybe behind the scenes working on things and like that. Of course, we expect that. But I was under the, I guess, assumption that he was not going to be welcomed as much for fundraisers as he once was because of the Me Too movement. You remember Gillibrand, our senator, Gillibrand very much loved campaigning with the Clintons until the Me Too movement started, and then she distanced herself and threw the former president Bill Clinton under the bus. So I'm surprised at how much they're praising this up. Now, I know it's interesting to have three presidents together in a room. I understand the historic aspect to it. But you don't see, it's almost as if they forgot about Bill Clinton. Or they want this to be so successful for Biden that they're willing to, as they did throughout history, overlook his past transgressions. Right? That's the only answer I have. And I love, and this is from Stephen Collinson, I love how that he ends his piece, and that's at CNN. But the three presidents have long since buried their various hatchets, mostly, and will Thursday unite to counter a threat that they all believe poses a near existential risk for U.S. democracy. A second Trump term. We got to take a break. Stay with us. We'll be right back with Frankly Speaking after this.
Was your premature baby fed a cow's milk baby formula such as Similac or Enfamil? If so, your child may be entitled to significant financial compensation. Evidence shows that cow's milk formulas increase the risk of NEC in premature babies, causing severe harm and even death. If your child was born premature and suffers from NEC, intestinal perforations, sepsis, cerebral palsy, or died as a result, you may have the right to sue for significant financial compensation. Call now for a free case review.
Hey, Emerald Lagasse here, and I'm so excited to tell you about my biggest air fryer yet.
Introducing Emerald Lagasse's Dual Zone Air Fryer Oven with dual-sided cooking chambers. Now you can cook 2 different foods 2 different ways that finish at the same time. Enjoy juicy grilled burgers at the same time as air-fried French fries. Broiled savory salmon at the same time as roasted asparagus. The secret is in the QuickSync technology that matches the cooking times and settings of each food, so they're programmed to finish at the same time. But watch, remove the center divider and it transforms into a large 25-quart capacity oven. Now you can try Emerald Lagasse's Dual Zone Air Fryer Oven with free recipe book in your home for 30 days for just $14.99. But wait, we'll automatically upgrade you to his deluxe cooking kit and 1-year VIP protection plan absolutely free, complete with everything you need to cook Monday to Sunday family-size meals. Plus, ask how you can get free shipping. This offer will not last, so order now.
You're gonna love it, I guarantee it.
Today's just such a special day. The XFL and the USFL merged together to create one powerful spring football league called the UFL. These players are going to play hard-nosed, intense football, passionate football.
Every play matters.
They got one shot. They're going to ball out. Incredible. Spring football is here to stay.
The UFL season kicks off March 30th on Fox.
And we are back with Frankly Speaking here on Big Fox, broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio. I wanted to remind you that tonight is the Taste of Downtown for the Elmira Downtown Development. Taste of Downtown at Empire Sport of the Southern Tier, 304 North Main Street in Elmira. Tonight from 5 till 7:30 p.m. Tickets are $30 and on sale now at elmiradowntown.com. And you can also, I forgot I had to fix that. They're also available at the door. So I wanted to mention that to you if you're looking for something to do tonight. We do have another break coming up in just a moment. But first, and again, I always say take polls with a grain of salt. Trump leads Biden by 5 points in a new national poll put out by Fox News. Former President Donald Trump is leading Biden by 5 points nationally. It shows the ex-commander-in-chief leading the incumbent 50% to 45% in a head-to-head rematch. It does not say... Okay. Trump maintains his edge over Biden even in a hypothetical five-way race. With third-party candidates included in the survey, 43% of registered voters indicated they would back Trump, while 38% said they would vote for Biden. RFK Jr. received 12%, a 3-point drop from November, and Green Party and unaffiliated candidates Jill Stein and Cornel West received 2%. The poll also found that just 22% of respondents said they were better off than 4 years ago. And more than half of respondents, 52%, said they are worse off. All right, let's take another short break. Stay with us. We'll be right back with Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV, Big Fox.
Our water's better tasting, it's better for the planet.
That's great, sir. Can I take your order?
Oh, number 3.
At Culligan, we get that most people don't think about water like we do, and that's okay. You see, when we install our drinking water and softening systems, we're thinking about filtering contaminants and the minerals that make water hard. So you can just think about softer, cleaner, better tasting water. At Culligan, we think about your water, so you don't have to.
Call today to schedule your free water test.
This is an important message for firefighters, members of the military, and airport workers. For decades, first responders and firefighters at military bases and airports used a chemical-based foam to fight fires. Studies have shown that chemicals used to make aqueous film-forming foam, or AFFF, are highly toxic to humans and have been associated with several types of cancer. If you or someone you know was diagnosed with any of those cancers, call now for a free case review.
Shell Missy face off in
Why can't we watch DuckTales? Because we don't learn anything.
Book Smarts versus Street Smarts.
Is it working? Are you feeling motivated? Very.
It's the battle of twins.
Life is so confusing. I always hoped it would be easier for me when I grew up. It's gonna be all right. You were faking. Bazinga.
Young Sheldon. Weeknights at 6:30 on Big Fox.
Responding back to emails. Welcome back to Frankly Speaking here on Big Fox. I love this. Received this. Thank you to the viewer who sent me this article from The Independent. A Texas man has legally changed his name to, quote, literally anybody else, and has launched a bid for the 2024 presidential election. Now, a little late on the bid for the presidential election, but he may be surprised at how many write-ins he gets, not knowing that they're voting for the former Dustin Abbey, who's 35, said he changed his name so that he could express his dissatisfaction with the current presidential candidates. It's not necessarily about me as a person, but it's about literally anybody else as an idea. 300 million people can do better, he said. There really should be some outlet for people like me who are just fed up with this constant power grab between the two parties that just has no benefit to the common person. Mr. Abbey, who is a U.S. Army veteran and a 7th grade math teacher in the suburbs of Dallas, said his name change was approved by the judge, and he has now obtained an official driver's license with his new name. Under state law, Mr. Abbey needs 113,000 signatures from non-primary voters in the state of Texas by May to get his name on the ballot. I would say that he doesn't necessarily even have to be on the ballot in this scenario, right? There might just be a lot of people writing that in. I just mentioned the poll numbers. The Standard doesn't want you to worry about it. Nope. Don't believe the Donald Trump hype. Joe Biden's poll numbers are rising. Listen to the beginning of this hit piece of an article. Whisper it gently, but Joe Biden may be on the verge of a comeback. His polling remains anemic, but it's ticking upwards. The unloved president has few ardent champions, but fear of Trump's return to the White House is concentrating minds. While Trump is attracting hardcore supporters like iron filings to a magnet, others are being repelled. If Biden is to have a chance of a second term in office, it's by virtue of being the stop Trump candidate. And basically the argument is, it's not Biden. We don't really care for Biden. It says there's people out there voting against Trump. Sarah Baxter wrote this piece and is the director of the Marie Colvin Center for International Reporting. All right, let's take our last break so we have a little time to spend together as we wrap things up, because I want to give you just a couple quick updates on Ronna McDaniel, because there's a great piece by Miranda Devine this morning at the New York Post. So stay with us. Final break before we wrap things up here on Frankly Speaking.
What's up, guys? What I'm about to show you is going to change the way you shave your head forever.
You can shave your head in 90 seconds or less.
With no cuts or nicks. It's 100% waterproof. It even works in the shower.
Introducing Remington's Balder Boss. With increased flex and 5 dual-track floating head design, get over 60% more head coverage for a faster, closer shave and skin-close results.
No nicks, no scrapes. Fit in the palm of my hand, and the results were amazing.
Shave in the shower or with any foam or gel. With Japanese-grade steel blades, plow through the thickest of hair. Anytime, anywhere. There's even a pop-up trimmer to complete your perfect groom. Now, you can try the Remington Balder Boss in your home for 30 days for just $14.99. Complete with a 5-year limited warranty and 100% satisfaction guarantee. You can also get our ear, nose, and brow trimmer free. Just pay separate processing and handling.
Give it a try. You won't be disappointed.
Order your Balder Boss now.
Dale pues, vamos allá, muévete más loco como solo tú lo sabes. Así es, pon las manos en la cabeza, sacúdete, sacúdete, mira, sacúdete.
Thank you again for joining us here on Frankly Speaking. As we wrap up here, Ronna McDaniel is reportedly talking to a pretty big shot lawyer, considering her legal options after the NBC News ouster. That's according to a report by Politico. Defamation and hostile work environment lawsuits against the network are reportedly on the table as well. Not just getting the $600,000 she was due to be paid over 2 years. Some other, I say go for it, but some other avenues as well. So Miranda Devine has a great piece this morning. And she says the mean girls pile on at NBC against Ronna McDaniel is a perfect demonstration of what bullies all these leftists are, while pretending to be paradigms of compassion and empathy. When they attack a defenseless person in mob fashion, mock them, denigrate them, punch them in the face, and then kick them while they're down, it's not bullying. You must understand that the rules they set for us don't apply to them because they are the chosen few. The selfless TV anchors embarked on a crucial mission. They're always saving democracy, defending the underdog, speaking truth to power, or in McDaniel's case, preserving the, quote, sacred airwaves of NBC and its crazy sister in the attic, MSNBC. By hiring the former Republican National Committee chair and Trump protectee, quote, what we've said to the election deniers is not just that they can do that on our airwaves, but they can do that as one of us, a badge-carrying employee of NBC News, as paid contributors to our sacred airwaves. That is an actual quote from MSNBC anchor Nicole Wallace. Now, never mind Jen Psaki, as it says here, a role as professional protector of the White House, saying things like Hunter Biden's story is Russian disinformation, told us earnestly that all she has ever done is serve the American people. And unlike liar Ronna McDaniel, quote, this isn't about red versus blue. This is about truth versus lies. Service to the country versus service to one man, committed to toppling our democratic system. Our democracy is in danger because of the lies that people like Ronna McDaniel have pushed on this country. That's Jen Psaki saying this. Then, with a straight face, just to show you who these people are, quoted Liz Cheney. Liz Cheney has become an MSNBC darling. She loves the attention. It's very sad to think of how they treated her father, and then to just, well, as Miranda Devine says, not me, Miranda Devine calls her and Adam Kissinger useful idiots. But NBC bosses caved into the bullying of their underlings this week and ousted McDaniel from her $300,000 contributor job after just 1 week. They have the vapors and take to the fainting couch when Donald Trump bullies someone, but that's because they recognize a fellow traveler. They just hate that someone on the right is as effective as they are at pulling the wings off his enemies before publicly disemboweling them to the roar of a crowd whose bloodlust they have stoked. So her, and I don't know if you agree with this argument, her argument is they hate Trump because Trump's doing what they're doing, which is taking care of their enemies, so to speak. They really, really want Republicans on the air to protect balance, but only useful idiots like Liz Cheney and Adam Kissinger who hate Trump as much as they do. But honestly, they even hold their nose in those scenarios because they're still quote-unquote conservatives. Whatever you think of Ronna McDaniel, and I don't think much, nobody deserves that kind of ritual character assassination. That was a good point by Miranda Devine, and I thought you'd find that interesting and a perfect way to end the program. Oh, also, speaking of people in the media, Jon Stewart, which I don't know how his ratings have been doing. I've heard not that good, but he is found to have overvalued his New York City home by 829%. Why is that newsworthy? Because this week he labeled Trump's civil case not victimless. They are saying that he did the exact same thing. And where is Attorney General James on this one? Now we are out of time for today's edition of Frankly Speaking. Thank you to everyone who joined us. Thank you for all the great comments, all the great waves. And we will be back tomorrow morning starting at 7 a.m. It's our Good Friday edition, so I hope that you'll join us. And then again, starting on Monday, we're going to 2 hours, and we'll be on at 6 a.m. So set your alarm, mark your calendar, day after Easter, enjoy 2 hours of Frankly Speaking. But until then, I will see you tomorrow morning starting at 7 for Frankly Speaking, only on WYDC TV. Big Fox. Have a great day, everyone.
If you're on supplemental oxygen, heavy and awkward tanks are a burden. Now you can leave home and leave the tanks behind with Inogen One, the portable oxygen concentrator you can take almost anywhere.
With this little device, now I'm able to do the things that I've always loved. I just press the button here, and there's my oxygen.
The Inogen One is so small and light, you're free to leave the house without the hassles of an oxygen tank.
I could play golf again. I could go grocery shopping. I'm free again.
With the Inogen, I can handle my own oxygen. I can carry my own oxygen. I go anywhere with this. Look how small it is.
And right now, you can try an Inogen One for 30 days completely risk-free. Give us a call right now. If you qualify, we'll send you an Inogen system to use for 30 days completely risk-free. Your insurance may even cover your new Inogen One system.
If you're on oxygen, you need to be using an Inogen.
Call 1-800-929-7290. Again, that's 1-800-929-7290.